I'd like to introduce Yolie Flores. Yolie, as Vice President of the Los Angeles Unified School District Board of Education, the second largest school district in the United States, worked very closely with the Committee of 100 on promoting Mandarin in Los Angeles City schools. She was also a participant in our leadership delegation to China in 2008. Yolie is CEO of Communities for Teaching Excellence, a national education advocacy organization working to ensure effective teaching for every student in every classroom every year. Most recently, Yolie served, as I said, on the LAUSD Board of Education as Vice President, where she led the fight to reform the school district and challenge the culture of failure for poor children, in particular children of color. During her tenure, she moved the agenda on Mandarin and other world languages, on teacher effectiveness, on parent engagement, and small schools. She has been a friend not only to the Committee of 100, but all of the children in our wonderful school district. Please welcome Yolie Flores.
Good evening. Buenas noches. Wan Shang Hao. It is such a pleasure to be with you this evening to share with you a little bit about my work with the Committee of 100 and the absolutely amazing impact of this relationship. As Stuart said, during my tenure as a member of the LAUSD Board of Education, I had the opportunity to work with the Committee of 100 and the Mandarin in Schools Committee. And by the way, this was probably the only piece of work that wasn't enormously controversial, but so powerful and so impactful. Through the work of the committee, I formulated the Mandarin, Spanish, and other world languages resolution, a district-wide policy which was approved by the Board of Education on October 28th of 2008. The resolution made a couple of very important points before we got to what we needed the district to do. First and foremost, it made this important statement, which you've heard a little bit about earlier today. Mr. Milken, in particular, underscored this. But in order to globally compete in the 21st century, our students today need to develop the linguistic and cultural literacy and functional proficiency in one or more languages. The resolution also made the point that over 200 million students every year in China are learning English, but fewer than 50,000 American students nationally are studying Chinese. At the time, at LA Unified, we were offering Mandarin at 12 secondary schools and 3 elementary. That's it. In total, 880 students out of 700,000 were learning Mandarin, and only for a maximum of 2 years. And so the goal of the resolution was to wildly expand the opportunity across feeder schools for many more children to learn, deeply learn the language and achieve high levels of proficiency. Soon after passing the resolution, I had the opportunity to join a delegation of leaders, thanks to Stuart Kuo, had the opportunity to join this delegation to China. And as a result of the trip, I had even more clarity and understanding of just how important this resolution was for our students. And so upon my return, I pushed hard to make sure that LAUSD stayed the course in fully implementing this policy. This meant identifying preschools, elementary schools, and those elementary schools that feed into middle schools, and those middle schools that feed into high schools. Making sure that all along this pipeline, from beginning to end, children, students had the opportunity to learn and excel in Mandarin. So today, where are we, 4 years later? Well, as a result of the Mandarin in Schools Committee, and by the way, the Confucius Institute, our resolution today has resulted in 2,384 students that are enrolled in Mandarin over a 6 to 8 year period. We went from 800 to over 2,300 students, and from a 2-year experience to a 6 to 8 year experience. I am incredibly proud of this accomplishment, but this would have never, ever happened without the leadership of the Committee of 100 and the Mandarin in Schools Committee. Let me also say just a few words about the trip to China. Truly, for me, it was an experience of a lifetime. And by the way, not only as an American, but a Mexican. It opened my eyes to the power and potential that both of our countries have as global leaders if we understand each other and work together. We have so much in common and have the potential to solve so many of the world's problems. But it all starts with learning about each other, breaking those stereotypes, and being in relationship with one another. And the first way to do this is through language. I'm optimistic that because of our work together, the children of LAUSD that are learning Mandarin and the children of China that are learning English will find each other, and they will be the leaders that we are looking for together. Thank you for the opportunity, Committee of 100 and the Mandarins in Schools Committee. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and bringing to me your vision and your leadership that we could do this together, and for giving me that opportunity of a lifetime, which I hope is not the first or the last, to be in China. Thank you for having me today.
First, I want to thank Kelly once again for coming out here tonight to help us to be the MC of this evening. In fact, 8 years ago, she agreed to come out, in the same place. Talk about common ground, that's the whole theme, So here she is again, once again helping us 8 years later. And thank you to Stuart. Stuart, by the way, is not just the co-chair for fundraising this evening. He's also the vice chairman of our domestic programs. In fact, he is the leader in terms of helping us to drive all of those core programs that I talked about earlier, as you have heard from the testimonials. Again, education, diplomacy, and leadership development. These are the 3 core programs that we focus on at Committee 100. And so, as I know that it's already 10 o'clock, and you still have to go home to read the book. So therefore, it's only appropriate for me to say good night, and thank you all for being here. And I'll see you all tomorrow, 9 a.m. at the Vienna's Ballroom when we start the conference. Good night. Thank you so much.